All right, so a few videos ago, I mentioned how I wanted to enjoy this Jeep stock and see what I could get into in its stock configuration. Well, I lied. Let's put a lift kit on this bad boy. So I thought I could beat the odds. I bought this Jeep thinking full well, I'm gonna enjoy its stock. I'm not gonna do anything to it because this can do everything I want. Well, that might be the case, but at the same time, there's just too many damn good parts for this thing. So I caved. I admit it. You know, welcome to the meeting. I'm a modifier. That's what we do. So in today's video, what we're going to be doing is adding a 2.5-inch lift to this Jeep Wrangler. Now, when we were doing this, we got reached out by Max Speeding Rods. You might know them. We've worked with them a couple times in the past, and they wanted us to showcase their new shock absorbers. So, in order to do that, we also needed a lift kit, which they kindly included as well. I think I came up with a pretty good playlist, cooking list, something list. This is a real hodgepodge of parts. I have stuff from Max Speeding Rods, I have Rough Country parts, and TerraFlex. My goal was to try and find something that was affordable and worked, and I think at the end, this lift kit's gonna save me a little bit of money and do everything I want it to do. So let's get going. I almost forgot the most important thing about doing a lift kit on YouTube. Measurements. Everyone wants to see what kind of a difference this kit's gonna make. Allegedly, this is a 2.5-inch lift, so I guess we'll find out together if it is or not. So we will go from, we'll go all the way from the ground up to this fender, and looking at what, almost 34 and a half, 34.
33.5.
Okay, I like to round up. So that's what we're looking at there. The back, 35, 34 and a half.
That's a guy's 35.
It's a guy's 35, cool. And then what I care most about is because down here, I just scrape on everything. Look at this thing. Like, just horrible. Like 9 inches of ground clearance. So there's some baselines. So now let's throw on some fun stuff and see if it makes a difference. It's guy's 35. We will have to be taking off some shocks, some springs, some sway bar end links, and our first piece of extra upgrade, the lower control arm, and I'll explain later why we need that. Okay, and with 2 whole things, we got the OE Spectrum shocks off, so I'll just leave it at that. I think they're new, but oh well, not what we want. We don't want to be on the Spectrum. Look at this little baby. All right. So here's our first fancy thing, new shocks. So this comes from Max Speeding Rods. This is their new shock. Our lift kit that we are gonna pull out has shocks in it, but these are the new and improved versions. They have, I think, a larger diameter. They have a boot, they're painted gray. But let's take a look at what they do, because I mean, even compressed, look at that, it's already almost the same size. I'm pretty excited. These are supposed to fit between a 0 to 6-inch lift. So let's get a little excited. Watch her grow. Already a huge improvement in suspension travel. So yeah, I'm excited to put these on, and I'm curious to see how they feel on the road, bumps, off-road, slow and fast. So we're gonna do a whole test. So if you like them, they actually gave us a discount code, BRO10. Anything you buy at Max Speeding Rod, 10% off on us. We're gonna be opening up the first box of stuff that doesn't come along with your basic kit, which I think is probably one of the most important, and that is lower control arms. Why? Why, Justin? Why do I need this? Why can't I just put a spacer lift on it, put some 37s, and hit the nearest Starbucks? Let me tell you why. That's a great question. So, when you lift a Jeep, this bad boy, the axle, is going to drop. And when you drop this axle, you can see these two pivoting points, the upper and lower control arm. Well, because of geometry, its pivoting motion is more like circular. It's going to arc this way when it goes up and this way when it goes down. Well, this is pretty important. This is where your caster is. And on a stock setup, you have a few degrees this way of caster to keep everything lined up and everything happy. Well, of course, if you lower the suspension, it's going to push your caster more neutral, something straight. And that can give you all sorts of weird problems. It can cause weird bump steer, could be a known issue to accelerate, death wobble, the whole 9 yards. So, even at a 2.5-inch lift, this is still a good idea. And why? Because this lower control arm is adjustable and we need to make it slightly longer. And by doing so, even though we'll be having a little bit of a this motion, with this control arm being longer, it will push the bottom of the axle forward, correcting our caster. So if anything, this is probably one of the best additional parts you can buy to help with your geometry and help keep your Jeep feeling the same. So do it. Do this. Do it. Do this. And I paid for this myself.
There we go.
Ta-da! Okay. That's done. With this type of joint, we should also be seeing a lot better flex because it's a little ball joint. So that thing can do-si-do. So this is it. We can put this in and start already reversing what we did. It's not that bad, right? Jeeps are pretty simple. Something else that wasn't included in this kit, and it's also still very important, bump stops. Jeeps apparently love their bump stops, and there's different types for the front and the rear. This goes right here. So that way it hits this instead of your tire hitting this. So it stops it but allows the other side to just... So we need to drill a hole into here, put this in with the new spring, and then put that in. And that's one more thing done. So, yeah. So in most of these kits, they will come with a brake line extension bracket, just kind of drop everything down. It does require you to bend the hard line, so it's a little sketchy. It's very uncomfortable. But once you have that, it gives you quite a bit more slack. So it gives you some more confidence to flex with the stock brakes. Even at this extreme amount of droop, there's slack in the line, when before this was extremely tight. So we've got a couple of inches. I don't know, you can round it to whatever you want. 6 inches, something like that. So we'll be fine. Something new that we just put on. Now, in the world of Jeep JK lift kits, it's common to take off the rear sway bar end link, put it on the front, and then they supply a new one you put on the back. Me, since I want to actually use this for off-road, and as you know, this is not a Rubicon, so I opted to get this. This is a manual sway bar disconnect that is just on with this pin. There's a piece here that is where the sway bar link will slide onto, put on the cotter pin, safety pin, and that's it. So this will make disconnecting the sway bar on the trails much easier, because before I needed a wrench and the stock sway bar. Of course, it's walked away on me. Here's one over here, the little boy. So much longer. So it is proper for this lift kit, and it is removable, which makes it convenient for me. And everything is self-tapping screws, or bolts, which is pretty cool. I like it. So let's keep going. Now we are on the other side, where the droop is pretty much the same as the shock and spring from the passenger side. And you can already see there's a huge difference. That side is completely connected. This side, not so much. And It's just, just like that. It's nothing. So I think we should be getting a good amount of travel out of this. So let's continue because we still have the back. Okay, everything's back together. We got the sway bar disconnect on, put into the frame, new springs, new Terraflex bump stop extensions, the new and improved max beating rods shocks, extended travel, and the max beating rods lower control arms to correct our geometry, and our brake line extensions. So, whew, not bad. But we need Mega Wrench. This thing's been a long time coming. We haven't used Mega Wrench in a while, just to tighten up these threads to make sure it stays in place. So we just gotta get a bite in there. Mega Wrench. Never leave home without it. Front suspension is now on. I'm going to pull the Jeep out, bring the rear back in, so that way we can do the rear suspension. That'll allow the front to set a little bit. And then I can tighten up the last few remaining bolts, and then we can do some measurements. But man, this is a big old opening. It needs to be filled by something. I guess we'll see. Okay. All right, so we have the Jeep pulled in now, and first glance, I don't know, like this, the front lift kind of leveled the truck. Like it already looks like 10 times better, but we're not done. So the rear, the reason why I start with the first, because that should have been the hard part. The back, we're going to be doing new springs, new shocks, and then I went a little bit above and beyond, and I'm going to show you that later as we're installing it, what I picked, why I picked it, and why I think you should pick it as well. So until then, let's get these tires off, let's jack up the back, and start getting the rear suspension put on. All right, you messed up, you blinked. Well, rear suspension is already out, so on to putting stuff on. Woo. As you can imagine, when you lift a vehicle, there's this thing called the Trackbar. There was one in the front too. And it, like the control arms, when it goes down, it's going to do a circle. So the more you drop it, the more it's going to pull your axle to the passenger side. And that's going to give you like weird driving sensations. It's just not fun. So Terraflex and a few other companies, but this one seemed to be the good one, have come up with a solution. And the reason why I like this one is because it has a lot of mounting points, because this takes a lot of stress. So it's going to mount to the bolt for the lower control arm where the track bar used to go, and it's going to have a U-bolt that hugs onto the axle. So there's going to be a lot of things keeping this in place. And the benefit is this is where your track bar used to go, and when you lift it, you have these two choices to flatten it back out, so that way it re-centers your axle even though it's been dropped down. So not a part of the lift kit. It's not a part of a lot of lift kits, but this is something I highly recommend. Simple peace of mind to fix your geometry and keep the Jeep driving normally. So let's put that on right now. Right now.
Boom, boom.
She's in. The rear bump stops extensions, very intense engineering. Just goes right here, boop, for the style lift we have, which is like 2 inches, 2.5. And then when you go 3.5, before, you just do that. So yeah, got the springs on, got the relocation bracket on, get this last bit of weirdness on, get this bracket put on for the brakes so that way these are nice and extended, put some shocks on it, and the rear is G2G. Just like that, our Jeep JK is now on a 2.5-inch lift. We'll see what it is. At first, we need to go ahead and take it for a drive, let the suspension settle, get some initial impressions on how it feels, and then we'll come back, do our measurements, and see what kind of lift we actually got with this. So let's stop stalling. Let's just get on the road and see what happens. Woo. Okay, let's see how these disconnects work. Let's see if it's actually pretty easy or if it's kind of a gimmick. Okay. Take safety loop off. There we go. This pulls down. That comes out. Let's get the other side. This comes out. Oh, okay. And this should just go there. Okay. Okay, there's one. Nope, the other one is ready to go. Cool. Okay, and there it is. That was easy. This gives you everything, so let's see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, personal impressions of the max speeding rods mixed with your geometry kit.
Right, so at the moment, these shocks are a huge upgrade from what was on it. This had some, I don't know, just some off-the-shelf random front shocks, and then it had some really stiff Bilsteins in the back. So getting those out of the way, getting the really soft front shocks out of the way and putting this on, the combination of the lift kit, this thing is, the confidence that you have off-road, it's tenfold. So I think I am very pleased with this. I'm probably going to be running this kit for quite a while now since it's on. But adding the additional parts that I personally purchased has also, I think, made a big difference. The track bar in the rear is higher and it's more level. The geometry in the front is corrected, so there's no sort of bump steer or anything weird like that. All in all, I have to say I am genuinely impressed. I think this is definitely worth your money if you're looking for your first maybe entry-level lift kit to put you into the off-roading world. I don't think there's probably a kit that's a better value that offers this kind of performance. So I want to say with everything, this is definitely under $1,000. I'm probably thinking anywhere between 6 to 8. And that gives you stuff from TerraFlex, that gives you stuff from Rough Country, gives you stuff from Max Speeding Rods. It's just this whole mix of which each company brings their best value. I don't think there was a better rear track bar bracket than TerraFlex. sway bars. I think the most affordable option was definitely the rough countries. Lower control arms, that's still going to be a long-term review to see how those hold up in real world conditions. But the shocks and the springs, as far as an initial impression, I think they're doing just fine. And if you do want this kit, like we mentioned before, we have a discount code. If you use Bro10, you will get 10% off any purchase from the website, including this lift kit or the shock. So give them a look. Maybe it's what you're looking for, and I think you'll be happy. Woo! We got a Jeep that does Jeep things now. It doesn't bottom out on pebbles.
Sick. Yeah, just need some rubber. This old rubber's
Yeah,
tired.
this thing's got the tippy toe lift. Yeah.
All right, guys, like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed this and you want more Jeep content. Thank you so much for watching. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Yeah. See ya.